Hello, here are the answer solutions for the review for the entire Module 6 Part 2, which is 6.7 through 6.11. All right, again, please do not just blindly copy this. Use this as a resource. Feel free to fast forward to whichever problems you need to see. Looking at this first group, we have altitude to the hypotenuse problems. So this one has something on the leg. This is the leg squared equals the whole hypotenuse times the adjacent piece. So leg squared x squared equals whole hypotenuse is 10 times the adjacent piece, 2. X squared is 20. X is plus or minus square root 20, which is square root 4, square root 5, or 2 square root 5. Number 2, again, we have something on the leg. So leg squared equals whole hypotenuse times the adjacent piece. Leg 10 squared equals whole hypotenuse, x plus 4, times the adjacent piece, 4. We have 100 on the left. I'm going to distribute that 4 through. 4x plus a 16. Subtract the 16. That's 84. Divide out the 4. X is 21. Next one. Now this is an altitude problem. We have that altitude here, so different formula. Altitude squared equals piece hypotenuse times piece hypotenuse. So the altitude squared, x squared, equals one piece of the hypotenuse, 3, times the other piece of the hypotenuse, 9. X squared is 27. So x is plus or minus square root 27. 27 is 9 times 3, so that's going to give us square root 9, 3, square root 3. Looking at this next one, oh my goodness, we have to find x, y, and z. Ooh, I think I'm going to start finding this x first. So this, we have an, oops, there's my phone going. We have the altitude. So altitude squared equals piece hypotenuse times piece of the hypotenuse. Altitude 2 square root 3 squared is x times 4. So let's see, this is going to, when I square this 2 square root 3, we have to square the 2, which is 4. Got to square the square root 3, which is 3. 4 times 3, 12. Equals 4x. Divide out the 4, x is 3. That's nice now, because that makes this 3. Now if I find the y, y is a leg, so I'm going to go up here, leg squared equals whole hypotenuse times the adjacent piece. Y squared equals whole hypotenuse. Now I can get the whole hypotenuse. That's 3 plus 4 is 7 times the adjacent piece is 3. So we have y squared is 21. Y is plus or minus square root 21, which is just the positive square root 21. Okay, got to find z. I'm going to see if I can squeeze it in right down here. It's a leg. Leg squared is whole hypotenuse times the adjacent piece. So z squared equals the whole hypotenuse, 7, times the adjacent piece, 4. Z squared is 28. So z is plus or minus square root 28. And 28 is square root 4, square root 7, so that's a 2 square root 7. Okay, last one, number 5. We want to find that x. Let's see, this is a leg. Leg squared is whole hypotenuse times the adjacent piece. So 8 squared equals the whole hypotenuse, x plus 12 times the adjacent piece, x. 64 is, I'll distribute this x through x squared plus 12x. When you have an x squared in here, we want to set one side equal to 0. So I'm going to minus the 64. And then we have to factor. Don't forget the equal 0 here. That's really important. Some of you forgot that on the last quiz, and it cost you a point for not putting that. Two numbers multiply to be negative 64, add up to be a 12. We're going to have a plus 16 and a minus 4. 16 times 4 is 64. This gives us two solutions. X is negative 16, or x equals positive 4. X cannot be a negative number because it's a side length, so we get x is 4. Okay? All right, now on to the 30, 60, 90s and 45, 45, 90s. On this first one, we have a 30, 60, 90. The 14 is on the hypotenuse, so we're going to divide by 2 to get back to the short leg, which gives us a 7 here. Short leg to the long leg, we multiply by square root of 3, so 7 square root 3. On this one, we have a 30, 60, 90. The 27 is on the long leg. So to get back to the short leg, we need to divide by square root 3. And the way you divide is you rationalize the denominator. So multiply by square root 3 over square root 3, which gives us 27 square root 3 over 3. And then the 27 and the 3 cancel, leaves us with 9 square root 3 for the short leg. Short leg to the hypotenuse, we multiply by 2, gives us 18 square root 3. Next one, we have another 30, 60, 90. This time it was nice because the 400 was on the short leg. So going to the long leg, we multiply by square root 3. And then 400 times 2 to get the hypotenuse is 800. Bottom of the page, this one down here, let's see, we have a 45, 45, 90. To get from the hypotenuse back to the short leg, or the leg, so the same size, we're going to divide by square root 2. Rationalize. Gives us 8 square root 2 over 2. Simplify to a 4 square root 2 each. Number 11, these are the nice ones. We do have a 45, 45, 90 that give you a side length. So the two legs are exactly the same length. From the leg to the hypotenuse, multiply by square root 2. On this last one over here, we're on the hypotenuse in a 45, 45, 90. We'll have to divide by the square root of 2. And just like you can simplify things outside of a radical, you can simplify numbers inside of a radical. So the 6 and the 2 simplify out, and we get 12 square root 3. That's the legs. And there we are. Okay, did you notice that the letters spell out, if you write them in order, Rachel Walker? Pretty cool, huh? I thought so, even if you don't. Uh-oh. Something fell and broke. I'll clean it up in a little bit. All right, so we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem and the reduced triangle principle to solve for x. Leave your answer as a simplified radical. So I want you to look inside of here and see if we can divide 15 and 75 by something. We can divide both of them by 15. Gives us a 1 here and a 5 there. Using a dummy variable inside here, we'll have a 1 squared plus a 5 squared equals a y squared. 1 plus 25 is y squared. Y will be plus or minus square root 26, positive square root 26, but now that's the inside number. You're going to have to multiply back by 15 to get out here, so x is 15 square root 26. Okay? All right, now next one, we're going to have to draw some pictures here. I think I might go and draw all the pictures first. Diagonal of a square, so here's a square. Then I can put my geometer away. Equilateral triangle. Rhombus. I don't know why I like my rhombus situated this way. All right, so diagonal of a square is 14 centimeters. Diagonal, 14. How long is a side? This is a 45, 45, 90. You want to divide by square root 2. Rationalize. Gives us 14 square root 2 over 2, which simplifies out to be 7 square root 2 centimeters. Look at this one, the altitude in an equilateral triangle. We'll find the altitude whose perimeter is 20. So I'm going to put that altitude in here. Perimeter's 20, so 3 sides all equal, 20/3. Oh, I'm going to change that. I have no idea what my number was, what was supposed to be. Let me think. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be perimeter's 20, it was supposed to be a side is 20. And this is 20. We had a 60 here. Equilateral triangle, all 3 angles were the same. Makes this 10 down here. Half of this 20 is 10. 30, 60, 90 from the short leg to the long leg, multiplied by square root 3. So the altitude is 10 square root 3 centimeters. Number 9, diagonals are 50 and 120. Put those diagonals in. Now you have to remember a couple of things. Diagonals are perpendicular and they bisect each other. Perpendicular. All right, so if this one was all 50, then it's 25 here. If this was all 120, then we got 60 here. Now, can we divide by something so we don't have to do a big Pythagorean theorem? How about we divide by 5? Makes this a 5 and a 12. 5, 12, 13. Multiply back by 5 makes this side of 65. So the perimeter then is 65 times 4 sides is 240 and 20, 260. Okay. Last one down here. Find the length of the lower base, all of that down here. All right, I'm going to drop another altitude over on this side. And let's see. Oh, we have a 45, 45, 90 over here, which makes, that's 12 square root 2. This is 12. That's 12. Which means this piece over here is 12. 12, 35, 37. And this middle section, 21. So that base on the bottom is 12 plus 21 plus 35, or 33 plus 35, which is 68. Okay? Some of this stuff should be coming old hat by now. We've done so much of this. It should be really almost pretty automatic at this point. Solve for x nearest hundredth. That's 2 decimal places. So from this x, opposite and adjacent, this is a tangent. X is inverse tangent of 12 over 15. $36.659. 11, 30, oh, 2 decimal places, 6, yep. X is 38.66 degrees. Okay, number 12. From the 23, opposite and hypotenuse, that's a sine x over 8, so x is 8 sine 23. 3.13. Number 13. This is adjacent and hypotenuse. This is a cosine. 24 over x. So x is 24 over cosine 14. 24.73. Yes. Okay. Solving right triangles. All right, find the missing side length. C is 90 degrees for all problems below. So I'm going to draw my right triangles. All right, C is always 90, A is 19, C is 32. We need to find angle A, angle B, and side B. Okay, side B, I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem for that. 19 squared plus B squared is 32 squared. 19 is 361 plus B squared is, I think that's 1024. Yep, minus 361 is 663. So B squared is 663. Oops. 25.748. 749. Okay, let's find angle A. I'm going to use opposite and hypotenuse. That's a sine. 19 over 32. $36.424. 36.424. I'm checking my answers over here as I write them down. 36.424. And then B is quick. We just 90 minus that. And 53.576. Okay, number 15. Angle A is 81. Side B is 54, we will need to find side A, side C, and angle B. Angle B we can get quickly. That's 90 minus 81, or 9. Now finding the other pieces. To find C, let's go with, from the 81, opposite and adjacent, that's tangent. (54) tangent 81, 340.943. And to find what's left, side C, so adjacent and hypotenuse cosine of 81 is 54 over C. By 54 divided by cosine 81, 345.192, yep. Okay. One more on this page for me. Maybe you get to fast forward. Angle B is 73. Side B is 15. And we'll need to find A and C and angle A. Angle A is 17, 90 minus the 73. All right, side A from the 73 here we have adjacent and an opposite with the 15, so that's a tangent. I'm going to go ahead and set up to find C so I can kind of do my calculator work all at the same time. To find C, that's opposite, and hypotenuse, that's a sine. So C is 15 divided by sine 73. 15.685, that is correct. And then the other one, A, 15 divided by the tangent of 73 is 4.586. And that one is correct. All right. Again, if you're not getting the calculator part, please email me so I can take a picture of the calculator screen and send it to me, and then I'll see if I can figure out what's going on. Whew. 4 applications left. All right, 3 decimal places. Remember your units. All right. Jeff is flying a kite at an angle of 48 degrees to the ground. He lets out 65 feet of string and stakes the kite to the ground. Kite? Kite to the ground. How high is the kite flying? All right, so kite up here. All right. Is flying a kite at an angle of 48 degrees to the ground. So here's to the ground. He lets out 65 feet of string. Okay, here's the string. 65 feet, and he stakes the kite to the ground. So it's staked right there into the ground. How high is the kite flying? This much. All right, from the 48, that's opposite and hypotenuse. So we have a sine. X is 65 sine 48. .304 feet. right. Sarah is standing on top of a hill looking down at a boat. The angle of depression is 40 degrees. The distance from the bottom of the hill to the boat is 300 meters. How high is the hill? All right, here's Sarah up here. She's looking down at a boat. So here's the boat. The angle of depression is 40 degrees. 40 degrees. Out there again, remember, because she's got to tip her head down to look at the boat. The distance from the bottom of the hill to the boat is 300 meters. How high is the hill? Right there. All right, let's take this 40 and put it down here at that angle of elevation. And then we have tangent with an opposite and adjacent. And x is 300, tangent 40. $251.730. Yeah. Meters. Okay. A 20-foot ladder is leaning against a wall. The top of the ladder reaches 16 feet high on the wall. Oops, should I have done that in blue? I like to have my original triangles done in a darker color and then the information they tell me in a lighter color. And I'm just being picky, that's all. 20-foot ladder is leaning against the wall. So here's the wall, here's the ladder, 20-foot ladder. The top of the ladder reaches a point 16 feet high on the wall, so 16 feet up the wall. At what angle does the ladder make with the ground? With the ground right here. So let's call that, oh, I don't know, A. From that angle we have opposite and hypotenuse. Let's assign. Sine A, 16 over 20. A is inverse sine of 16 over 20. $53.130. Okay, last problem for this unit. A 32-foot flagpole casts an 18-foot shadow. What is the angle of elevation? Here's the flagpole. A 32-foot flagpole casts an 18-foot shadow. What is the angle of elevation? There's your angle of elevation, E. That's a tangent. Tangent of E is opposite 32 over 18. E is inverse tangent 32 over 18. $60.642. Whew. All right. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon.